All right. It's great to be here today with John. I don't want to butcher the last name, uh, so I'm gonna let him tell you, so everybody else gets it right. But it's a privilege to be here with John today, and we're just gonna jump right in. So, John, kind of tell everybody about yourself, how you got started in business, and how long you've been doing it.
Yes, John Mejia, thank you for having me. I got started in business, William. Let's see here. It was a sequence of events. I was a pilot for U.S. Airways. 9/11 hit, and I had to make a choice. Not choice. It was the choice pretty much was made for me. I had no job. So when 9/11 hit, U.S. Airways filed bankruptcy. There was several other airlines in trouble, as if you recall, go back to all of that. But bottom line is 15,000 pilots or so without work, and I was one of them. When immediately after that, I got a job. I was actually commuting from here. I was newlywed, and I was commuting from here to the Northeast, Pittsburgh, and I actually ended up driving back. I was in Dulles International Airport then when I got the news, so I was driving back. Drove back and got a job with a company here, flying a corporate jet. And unfortunately, 3 months later, that company has some big issues, some issues with the CEO. And all of a sudden, everything just started coming down. It was hell south. And unfortunately, all that happened. And the plane, they got rid of the plane, and we don't need a pilot anymore. And there I was again, without a job again. That was in 2003, March 03. So for a month or so, I was looking for work, couldn't find work to save my life. Interview with 23, 24, something like that, pharmaceutical companies. My wife, she is a pharmaceutical rep. She was a pharmaceutical rep. And we lived in a 1-bedroom apartment in Hoover, Alabama. And I started looking for work in that same field, could not get in. People like, oh, you're an airline pilot, you're going to go back to work flying the airlines, but you want to leave such a nice job. I'm like, well, there is no job flying airplanes. People did not know that. And I ended up getting pretty desperate. Where my wife was making $32,000 a year, paying rent, $760 a month. You can only imagine, money was gone pretty fast. And so I was getting desperate because I was not pulling in anything. So I applied for work in anything that I can possibly find. So I went up and applied for a job at Hoover Toyota, trying to sell cars there, Mercedes-Benz on Highway 150 in Hoover, nothing. Even fill out an application at Home Depot. I did not even get a call back from Home Depot, believe it or not. That was pretty frustrating. I ended up applying for Parisian's women's department, selling shoes. Then I get a job there. So things got pretty desperate for me. And I just really started to get really concerned. And I ended up looking at a job on the newspaper that said sheetrocking homes for $10 an hour. And I said, gee, I got to do something. And I went, applied for that job. I even gave the lady my resume, probably the only sheetrock guy in Birmingham, Alabama, that handed over a resume. That was me. And I gave her my resume, and she said, can you sheetrock? I said, no, but I can learn. He said, sorry, we're too busy. And this is April now, 2003. So I walked out of that place feeling like, man, I am nothing. I mean, I don't even matter. I mean, this life stinks. All the demons in my head are talking to me and telling me, John, you're nothing. You airline pilot, naval officer. I learned how to fly in the Navy. Airline pilot, naval officer. You speak 4 languages, college grad. You cannot even get a job sheetrocking homes for $10 an hour. So I felt pretty low. And I recall walking to the bank and to withdraw money, to give me a Subway sandwich, literally $10. My ATM card getting denied. That was M South Bank back then. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I walk inside, I said, man, please help me out. My ATM card's getting denied, blah, blah, blah. Says, nothing is wrong with your ATM card, sir. You only have 13 cents in your account. And that's when it really hit me hard. I was like, geez, I am really sucking wind here. So it was very disappointing. I went home, I broke down, felt as low as a human being can possibly feel, I thought. I said, there's no, how am I going to come out of this? My wife was working, you know, she was the only one making money. She's in Northern Alabama, you know, doing the pharmaceutical thing. And I broke down in that apartment complex, that apartment bedroom, the second floor, looked up to in my bedroom, in my living rooms, and I was just crying out loud and just yelling at the ceiling. You know, it's like, God, you abandoned me. What's going on? Nothing that I do works. What can I do? And just the desperation. And as I was yelling at the ceiling, please help me. What can I do? I just felt a really big voice inside of me, you know, like one of those kind of gut things that tells you something. And I felt, hey, this is what I felt. I said, get into real estate. And I went, real estate. And I yelled back, I was like, I'm a pilot, seriously, real estate? I'm a pilot. And I felt that feeling again. Yes, real estate. And that's when I heard it once again inside of me. I said, okay, real estate. What can I do to start real estate? Selling homes. That's exactly what just came to my mind, selling homes. And I went ahead and got my real estate license in June 2003. I started selling homes and with Realty South. And I went ahead after that. Within 6 months, I transferred to Remax. And within a year, I was Rookie of the Year. 2 years later, after that, I opened up my own company. And I went ahead and after that, you know, this is 2003. I opened up my own company, Providence Real Estate, and market crashed in 2007. And when the market crashed in 2007, people were like, well, you picked up the right time to open up a real estate company. And I was like, geez, you know, concerned, but I actually had something that most people didn't have. When I was a rookie, I went ahead and a friend of mine that retired gave me a BPO to do foreclosures, REOs. And he said, John, learn this, when one day we'll pay you off. And that was my first check, actually. I sold a little house in Fairfield, Alabama. It was a foreclosure. No one wanted to do it. I did it. I got $432 some out of it. My first commission check. I was like, geez, I can make money doing this. And little did I know, through the years from 2003 to 2007, I was representing one of the biggest banks, Aquin, JP Morgan. So when the market crashed, my business exploded. I was representing now the whole state of Alabama for these banks. My business just went up, you know, up to the top. 1 month alone in October 2007, I made $103,000. So I was like, wow, this is, you know, it was a saving grace. And continue to expand. I had 83, 86 homes I couldn't sell that were upside down. I had the idea to rent those homes and collect 10%. I was making $9,600, $9,700 a month on residual income from those properties. They were not even mine. So I like that mailbox money. That's what I call it. I mean, I like this mailbox money. And I thought, well, this is interesting. So here I am, fast forward to 2009, roughly. I'm in Disney World with my family, and I'm getting bombarded. I've got 17 brokers working for me, 6 full-time employees, doing short sales, REOs, regular sales, you name it. I'm making $500,000 in commission. So I'm like, you know, life is good, but yet I am that big fat hamster on the wheel, you know, and I'm like thinking, geez, what happens if that hamster just quits? Everything stops. So I looked at my little girls, you know, and I'm like, I have nothing to leave behind if something ever happens to me. And I just started, you know, meditating and thinking, praying. It's like, what else can I do? And um, I always tell people this. I don't know why, but I always, you know, Jiminy Crick is my favorite character in Disney. So it was like, you know, when you wish upon a star, and I was just like wishing, and also the thought of, you know what? Why don't you get into apartments? And the thought just kind of scared me. It's like, geez, apartment, that's a lot. That's millions. How can I do? I only got $32,000 saved in my account, you know, and I got all this big machine that I got to keep feeding its commission, but I got to keep feeding it, you know, and I was okay. So I had studied, read, went to seminars, you know, and William, the planets aligned for me, thank God. You know, I ended up meeting a gentleman that helped me out to get into the business. Found a deal that I was helping these guys raise money. I could not even raise $1 for them, but I ended up actually getting the deal myself because the deal fell apart, and the broker's like, I hear you the equity guy in the deal, which I was trying to help him, but I just couldn't raise any money. And he's like, it's your deal if you want it, after I fell out of contract twice. So I'm like, well, what do I do? Take a risk, get pretty outrageous, and go and make an offer. And I made an offer for $5.3 million. I have nothing. I didn't even have the net worth of 250,000 in my, maybe 300 back then, 250, something like that. I made an offer, but I partnered with my partner. You know, he was my sponsor, and he had the liquidity and the network. I partnered up with him, and we went 50-50 in the deal, but it was all up to me. I had to raise the money. I had to get the deal done, all of that, the business plan, the whole nine. And I got everything done, and he said, call this guy or email this guy, email some attorney in Florida. Somehow I got to some other person and down in Florida, totally irrelevant and not irrelevant, but they were kind of just people that connected other people. And this guy just called me last minute, 2 weeks before closing. I didn't have the money. And he's like, you know, I hear you got this deal. Don't do it with this other guy, blah, blah, blah. And he just told me, you know, and I'm like, look, man, and me from New York, I'm like, you know, listen, I don't have time for this. I got to close this deal right now in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. If you have the money, here's my wire instructions, send it, you know, put your money where your mouth is. Otherwise, I got to go with the other person, and we're just going to get the deal done. The guy wired me the money the very next day.
Wow.
I was like, wow. And I was able to raise 150,000 from two buddies. Close the deal, 5.3 million bucks. Close the deal. I borrowed $50,000 from the bank. That was my investment. 7 years later, that 50,000 that I borrowed from the bank turned a little over $3.2 million net to me. And within 6 months, we bought almost 800 units. And history, you know, everything is history from there. I went ahead and went on my own and started doing deals, 2014, buying more deals, got stronger financially, you know, and did more, obviously learned more about the business. My management company actually my real estate company became a management company, started managing my assets. I got into development in 2018 and started growing from 2016, started growing from there. And now we're doing developments, you know, in several different states, buying deals, large deals, you know, averages anywhere between 40 to 60 million per deal. We're in several different states. You know, I've been able to do transactions over almost $600 million in transactions, and growing, and internationally dealing with investors from all over the U.S. to international investors from Asia to Israel, South America. So, you know, it's good. You know, I'm always hard. You know, not hard, but how can I say this? I'm a very very optimistic, but also I'm an overachiever. I'm always pushing myself to do more and more. And of course, I got many plans and many projects and many things that I want to accomplish. But that's my story. You know, and right now, you know, we, like I said, we have almost like, what is it, 6 developments on the way right now. Bought a big, almost 600 units in Texas about 6 months ago, and continue to grow. And of course, now, you know, doing speaking and all that. I mean, that's something that I'm passionate about. You know, helping others and telling people the story and how you too can make it. The American dream is still alive and well. It's just a matter of you doing what you got to do to get there. Not comparing yourself to any other person, but the success is what you've done yesterday compared to what you're doing today. You know, one of the cool things about, not cool, but one of the great things about it is, I always circle back and look at, and is that 9 years later to that April afternoon when I was broken down and just crying and 13 cents in my bank account in that second floor apartment, 9 years later to the month, I bought the apartments across the street for 220 units for $14.5 million. If you would have told me then, John, you're broke, more than broke, but take a peek out the window, you're going to own those apartments in 9 years. I would have been like, no way, only God. So
That's
there
incredible.
it is.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's just a great story. I want to go back to something you said in the beginning. You talked, you know, you've been a pilot coming out of the Navy. When you took on that role, you knew you had everything it takes to be able to fly a plane. You know, you had developed the skills, you had passed the different certifications and tests, and so you knew you were capable of doing that. But when you transition into, you know, owning your own business, it's kind of it's no like mastery that you know that you're ready. Can you talk a little bit about, you know, how you develop the skills and some of your mentors or advisors, people who help you along the way to help develop those skills to be a business owner running an investment group?
You know, good question. I always tell people, well, 2 things. You know, how you go into becoming an entrepreneur. I mean, for me, I had no choice. So it's really hard for someone that is making money right now to, you know, let's say making money as an engineer and dropping all of that and saying, look, I'm going to leave this to go and venture into this great dream and become an entrepreneur. It's tough. It's hard then to do that versus, gee, I got no money. I'm broke. There's nothing I can do. And now it's up to me to make something happen. But the biggest thing here is, so that's first thing. Second thing is what I tell people: if you want to learn how to run a business with procedures, checklists, and make sure that things are, you know, backups and what have you, learn how to fly a plane. Get your private pilot's license. It's a lot of work, but also it will help you to pay attention to details, to multitask, to have procedures, to pre-plan, pre-flight, plan your approach, your exits, and you name it. Plan A, B, alternates, the whole 9. I mean, it's running a business is like flying a plane, plain and simple. I use so many analogies. You know, like when you hit a storm, what do? You get sucked in a, you know, because we don't fly into storms just because we want to fly to the storm. It just happens. It's like, oh, geez, a mistake or something happened, or you just develop so fast that you're sucked in, and now you're in your instruments. You know, what do? Well, you pull power back, wings level, continue your course. The same course you entered, maintain that course, wings level, pull throttle back. In business, that's pretty wise, because what happens when you hit the, you know, big bumps and chaotic moments in business? You don't start taking a turn and try to deviate from other things. You know, you pull back on resources, and you pull back on things that makes sense to do. So you will not stress the aircraft, you will not stress your business. You know, it's not the time to start hiring a bunch of people and then doing all kinds of different things. You pull back, you maintain level attitude, and continue on your mission, continue on the course. So we're doing apartments. Oh, gee, we just got hit by a big wave. Let's go start selling socks. You know, some crazy stuff. Or, you know, we need 3 more marketing people here when clearly things are tough. So it's time to get small and you know, be lean and mean and maintain the course and really dig into your mission and really solidify that mission. So a lot of that in business, it's, you know, it makes sense in business. So I tell that to people. I mean, you know, because it will tell you so much about yourself too. It will reveal a lot about yourself, what you can take and when you cannot, and how you can add to your organization. You know, people that can do it better than you. Really, at the end of the day, I don't do everything. I mean, I hire people that know more than me, and I can do it better, but that don't have that entrepreneurial spirit that they can take a risk. I can take a risk. I've learned to live uncomfortable, and I know living uncomfortable is what gets me there. That's normal now. What freaked me out at the beginning, 5.3 million, to me is like, geez, I wish everything was 5.3 million. That doesn't challenge me at all. I can do that with my eyes closed and then close it in a week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm staring at, you know, 60, 70, 50 million, you know, it's like, you know, and then that's just now, and later will be more. I'm sure it will be portfolios and what have you. But at the end of the day, you know, everything has a sequence.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. You hit on so many great topics, and love the palette analogy. It's like you guys, you know, have those checklists because failure is not an option. You know, it's like, and then that's great. I don't want to use up all your time, but I just got one more question, I guess.
Sure.
Well, 2 questions. One is, what advice, if you were talking, somebody else is in that same situation right now, you know, they're feeling like, hey, you know, they've tried so many things and it didn't work out, and they're down on themselves, just like, you know, that situation you found yourself in, you know, way back. And they're looking into maybe doing a business. What advice would you give them? And then the second question is, and the final question is, what's your vision for your company now? We'll close out.
Yeah, great questions. What advice can I give someone right now that is going through challenges, which is pretty typical for someone that is an entrepreneur? I mean, that's you just gotta. What advice can I give someone? You know, don't quit. Plain and simple. There's no science. There's no magic potion or something. There's no secret book or fraternity you got to belong to. It's plain and simple. Don't give up. Stay true to yourself. Be ethical, but don't give up, because most people give up too soon. And the hardest thing to do is to keep going. So when you're going through hell, why you want to stop there? Keep going. It's been a testament in my career. Listen, sometimes I'll be honest. I mean, sometimes I just sit back and say, man, this is worth it. I just want to quit, you know? But then that little voice comes back and says, don't quit. Why stop here? What's another more push-up? What's another one more call, one more try, one more day? You know, and that's what keeps it, that's what makes the difference, to be honest. What a Difference a Day Makes by Dinah Washington, one of my favorite artists. One day. So that's why I always have in my mind, just one more little bit. And my vision for my company, I want to grow it to a national company. I mean, we're national now, but an international company. You know, over 32,000 units is what I want to, you know, get out there. And I have more vision and goals outside of that, but in stages. But that's the benchmark.
Yeah, well, that's awesome, John. Man, this has been very inspiring for me. I know it'll be inspiring for others. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this interview. And that's an awesome story you have.
Well, thank
Really
you.
appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Yeah, you mentioned speaking, different engagements, things like that. If an organization was interested in getting in contact with you, how would they do that?
You can reach me on LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. John Mejia, that's Mejia. You can find me there, Providence Investments as well, or providenceinvestments.com. Is all our website information, but LinkedIn, I'm very active in LinkedIn, and you can find me there and reach out to me, message me, or just send me an email from our website. Pretty straightforward.